Then I cannot interrupt. Right? Okay. Mhm. Okay, good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for this invitation again and to be part of the Community of Design Summer School organized by Studio 34. It's not my first time to be part of this initiative. It's several edition. I like to contribute and to give my, let's say, my experience to share with you. For the edition of the Science Summer School 2024, my invitation and my topics will be related with the city to play and space for place making. Just briefly, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Silvia Covarino. I'm an architect, I'm an educator, I'm an urbanist. I'm from German University. I'm an associate professor there from 2019. And I'm working in the topic and the scale of the city in the social and physical space environment. The decision to work with this subject is related with some experience from the last academic year, and also is an interest with the topic of urban sociology, and of course always is related with discovering and understanding the urban scale of the design field, but in a small scale. The first image I would like to give you to you is about how space, this is an experience during the Corona 2019, if I'm not wrong, when Marina Bay transformed this space and still going on the festival and the screening, transformed this space in the open air cinema. Now, this is not a design, this is not a decision by the designer how the space could be, but this is something in between. It's something consider this project, this performance, this installation, this temporary space is something consider also the needs of the community and the social behavior. And all the lecture we will run through this way of understanding people, understanding community, and to transform space. Because don't forget, we are designer, and our rules, of course, is to organize, to make the place, the space as something can become place for the community. But what is place making? Place making, I don't know if some of you already had experience in this kind of specific method and attitude. It's nothing so far from our daily life and from our experience in design daily. The terms space and place, they are used a lot. We are very familiar with the topic of space because we are the which one we design space and we transform and we organize. But place, it's sometimes is used in a wrong way, let's say, because not every space can be a place. And sorry, just one second. And the issue of place making show the creation of place is the behavior, is the attitude, is the capacity, is the approach to create place. Okay, and this is involved different aspects: the sociability, the uses, the activity, the access, the connection, the comfort, the image to create the bonds between people and sense of place. Now, this is nothing a new concept. All of these are the principle and are the reference we are using in a normal design. Okay, and this is just an image, an example how place. This is an example again during the COVID, how this is, the bus stop has been transformed in something else. But what is the significance of the place making? Okay, the definition, the place and the space. Place making is more than just a building, and they include paying attention to the physical space, to the cultural and social identity of the place. This is meaning to work in place making and to transform an area, we have to be really very careful and take care about the physical aspect, how is the form, how is the characteristic of the space, how is the culture. Culture, this is meaning the community, the behavior, how the people are using this area, and the social identity of the place. This is meaning for social identity, the character, if it's an historical area, what is the symbol, if it's a landmark. For many community, placemaking has been a way to reimage and renovate their public space. Of course, the frame and the large picture of this presentation and the topics and the field is the public space, but also space in between, semi-public space, semi-private space. But we are not talking about interior design, but is related with interior design because it's working with small scale and is working in, let's say, urban interior scale. Placemaking can empower community, can create a sense of belonging and lead to the community pride. This is meaning as a designer, as an architect, as a civil engineering or whatever, when we are going to transform something, we can really create something super powerful for the community because we can create a sense of belonging of the people to the place, the activity we are going to define for them, and the future we are going to design for them. This is a short video just to introduce the topics. I hope will work. The resolution is not very nice, but when I will share my PDF with you, you can go by the link of the YouTube. You can have a look at the video and a good resolution.
The idea of sort of creating a place for people to come together is essentially what placemaking is all about.
I think it's a good opportunity for folks to see what could happen in a space. And I think sometimes a push needs to happen. And so what that means is, you get a space that's really not happening. And so this is a good opportunity to see a temporary space become to something better.
We basically do our projects in 90 to 120 days. They're very fast, they're very furious, but what it does is it gets the community organized. It forces them to not overmeet, and it allows them to be able to bring things to life in a very fast, efficient way. And how are we going to turn this from an empty parking lot and an empty vacant shopping center into something that people can come together and enjoy and be a part of? Our events and our work does not come to life if the community is not involved. And that is a huge part of what we do. And so people sometimes want us to just do it all. That will not be successful. So the community has to be a part of it and take hold of it. And when they do, then they have ownership and they have this blood, sweat, and tears that are built into the projects, and they will fight for them going forward so that they can turn some of these temporary things into more permanent changes.
So my role at BetterBlock is architectural designer, and I'm here to design all the elements that you see from the stage, the facades, to seating elements. And what we do is we work with the community to kind of hear what they want to see in the space. I kind of design it and see what we can do, what's within budget, what fits the space, and then we come out here and build it.
No matter how good or bad a place is, the idea that neighbors want to come together and be in a place together has been never more sort of required than today. When we started the placemaking campaign, one goal we had set for ourselves was to build capacity within our department and our partner agencies to do these things in a bigger, better, more frequent way. And this is just testament that our staff is up to it, and then there is a huge demand in the county for places like this.
This was a short video by Montgomery Planning Organization, and it's a real experience. It's a practice with a real community. And I think so, just to give you a picture and the dynamic, how is the life? Because the key word until now I present to you are about space, place, community, placemaking as interaction, and the sense of place and activates the space. This is a very, very important issue. And public space on the ground, of course. I think so many of you are familiar with the philosophy and the approach of Yangel is working very well in this subject, in the design of public space and the engagement of the community, and consider the social needs to design better and better city is also work with the topics of the Urban Agenda 2030. And this is quotes, one of the reference I'm always using with my students: first life, then space, then building. The other way around never works. But I know we are always starting with the need to build up a tower and building and design something in space, an object, a single object. But by this lecture, I will try to put your attention on the aspect regarding the life in between, because we're never going to design something just as a single object to remain there. We always design something as a function, building, space, a plaza, or whatever in different scale. And we are going to design for someone. Of course, don't misunderstand the message and don't confuse. We are not anthropologists, we are not sociologists, but we are designers. We have to understand, we have to perceive very well the city and the community, but finally, our product, our aims is design some. Please, the message is very clear. Now, of course, you listen, this is coming also from Yangel website and page, and I really suggest study about him to watch the documentary, is elaborating and the manual and the guideline, because it's an excellent reference in a contemporary field of urban design. Of course, we have to listen community, we have to listen people, we have to start to observe not only the physical space, but also the social aspect. And this is one of the iconic example, the voice of the people, different age, different culture, different background, because we are talking about different targets. When we are working in public space, we are going to design space for all, not for the special target. Sometimes we will see specific example like a playground for children, but we have to think about accessibility, all the keywords are present. Now, another important reference is Jane Jacobs, because she really did a great job and give us an important reference how to think about the city for everybody, because the city have the capability to providing something for everybody, only because and only when they are created by everybody. And she was one of the important reference in theory and in practice too. She was a journalist, she was not an architect, but she gave us a very important experience to continue and to work and to design a better place. I mentioned before the issue about the sense of the place and the community in the urban area. And I already remarked, the intersection, what is the sense of a place? This is an example when a parking area has been transformed in something else. This way to design something else, to transform in something else, it's a work to reach the capacity by the designer. This is means all of us, educator, designer, academicians, interior designer, why not, planner, or whatever, to create this sense of place, to create through the design, through harmony, through define a good connection with the city. This is a remark also about this interesting project, transformation from parking to hotspot, because it's not only the sense of the place, it's not only bringing the beauty from the gray, ugly parking area, only the function and the structure of the space to work as a, let's say, spot for the car, but it's coming something else through art, through color, through nice furniture, and to arrive sense of community. And this is a very, very high level and target, and not only transform a space with a function in a place, but move on through a very strong sense of community. What's meaning? The meaning is people are like to go there, are like to share something. The people using this space for something special to improve their sense of the social life. Place making is not just about the creation of place, but it's also something is going through innovation and to new idea and through the future. This is the definition by the founder of the Project for Public Space, a very important platform where you can keep update with the new project, with the new initiative, with the workshop, with the call for paper, with let's say contemporary design update instantly. Is a very interesting. How the method is working, how this approach, because okay, the theory, okay, the keyword, okay, experience by the practice, but how we can start to work on it. We have to think about the users, okay, and because we are our final aim is, sorry, try to move the body. Our final aim is to play with this public space. And we have, for example, this is a very interesting matrix where it's working with the preference, okay? Preference with some keyword, and we're moving by users and the place. Now, this is our aim. We are going to design what, for who, and where. And in one of the course and part of the result are going to present later in the topics of the placemaking, I start with my student with this very interesting reference. This is not my elaboration, it's something we found already in one of the manual of placemaking. What is placemaking? What is not? And there are some elements I would like to remark with you. Is placemaking when it's dynamic, when it's flexible, when it's collaborative, when it's inclusive, when it's adaptable, when it's a function before the form, when it's including visionary, and when, of course, it's community driven. It's not placemaking when we are talking about this exclusive space, when it's car centric, when it's a static place, when it's design from top to down, when it's depending of a regular control, and when it's only cost benefit analysis. Each project, including this part, because we are practics, we are pragmatic, and we are realistic. But if I have to give you an emphasis and a link to what is placemaking, I have to remark this list of the white keyword. We want to transform our sidewalk not only into a place where you can walk, but where you can live. And the sidewalk, it's another, is one of the focus elements of the city. And sidewalk is everywhere. It's inside the compound, is in the public space, is in the shopping mall, is around, is a border between any building, any public function or private space to the public city, where everybody has the right to live. And it's one of the interesting elements to work on. A remark by Jane Jacobs is about the street also, street and their sidewalk. Again, a remark because it's related with the human scale, with the small scale, the sidewalk. We are not talking about highway, but there are several examples after about the infrastructure too. And the public space of a city as most vital organ. Why is the most vital one? Because it's where the life of the people is going on. As John Gell presented the quotes before, it's not a building in life, but life before to understand how it's working. Placemaking also is a process. It's not a project. It's a behavior. It's an attitude. It's a method to work. Okay, to care order to make the public space that are well used and well loved. It's not just it's not public space automatically placemaking working. The public space can be transformed, can be regenerated by the placemaking behavior and attitude. Art-based placemaking, art is one of the big catalysts. Okay, public art, graffiti, street art, art including in all the form, like the first slide I present to you, open air cinema, including performance, including a temporary space. Another big topic is matching very well with the placemaking, including regeneration through color and beauty. Okay, but it's one of the integrative approach in urban planning and community building. And this remark is coming from Project for Public Space, which the platform already mentioned to you before, to follow up because it will help you a lot to improve your research level. And from this platform, I extract some part for you, how placemaking is a creative process, because we are talking about a process of sharing. We are talking about make the destination and the build up area very vibrant, okay, through some suggestion and guidelines. The fourth type of placemaking, standard placemaking, is a process to creating quality of the place where the people, they want to live, work, play, and learn. I mean, our life is not only at home. Our life is around in the city, in any settlement and context. Then we move on. We have strategic placemaking. It's a target to a particular goal of addition or creation of space when, I don't know, imagine the regeneration is going on in downtown in Cairo, or imagine the amazing project along the Corniche, along the Nile, where it's not only a public space, but it's a space where happen a lot of things, and when the community matching together and can sharing the public life. Tactical placemaking, when emphasize testing a specific project, and then creative placemaking, when including art, culture, and the design activities really focus on the creative process for the community. Another remark about the public space and the users, this is an example of many places and spaces, and it's a very nice graphic representation of the matrix and layout. There are all the activity, what the user are doing in this space, and there are different examples. Just I like to pick one. For example, the local artists, what they are doing and what is the requirement. Or for example, let's say, the local residents, or for example, the rider of the bicycle or the stakeholders. Okay, this is the users, and this is what they're doing, and this is the which place they need, and this is a kind of requirement according with these aims established at the beginning. This is the kind of manual, but will be very useful as the way to analyze the place and project. And we will see. What is the mission at the end of the world? The mission at the list. The mission is to create, to make a great place, and this is coming again from a public space platform where the place is related with the comfort image, access, accessibility, and users activity. And then more for each one. This is a very nice matrix reference. There are more suggestions how we can have a comfort image when it's a walkable space, for example, and when we have a good building condition, and when we control, for example, in the comfort and image, a keyword and a field, if it's a safe space, if it's a clean space, when the crime of statistics are going to control and calm down. This is all the elements are part of the process to design a very nice project for people and to make a great place. Community-led placemaking, what is it? Is placemaking for people, and when we are talking about regenerative design, is a remark about how placemaking can work on it. What is placemaking in general as a reference, and how can be placemaking a motor of the community around the place? Kind of abstract article. It's 5-minute reading, because you don't have to have a look only about the project, but you have to look about the theory. You have to check who are the reference. I just give you 2 examples, Jan Gehl and Jane Jacobs. And then from the theory, and then you start your research, and then you move on through reading article and to be constantly updated. Why you have to read this short article and to be updated by blog, platform, or whatever? Because you have to develop your critical capacity. You have to be very critical to see what is good and what is bad, and how you can develop a good project for your company, office, organization, institution, or whatever. Placemaking is not something new, is something appearing today, it's something very old. It's through the history of our community, it's through the capacity for our community to live together. And it's something, as I mentioned in the reference, start already half century ago, when start to come out the needs to all the community and to organize the better life after the Second World War, when we move through industrial society to service society, and a lot of people start to live together in a very dense and concentrated area. From theory to practice, it's not only theory, but it's a practice, and then come up a kind of movement. PPS work and mission is to, what is the mission of this moment? The mission of this moment is to create a better place for people. And you can read more and more about the intention, about the aims, how to make a place. It's not the same as a construction building, but to design a plaza or develop commercial zone, but to make the space alive. Sometimes this process is like spontaneous, okay, and from the side when the community are self-organized, let's say. It's a process, this is calling a process of bottom-up, and this is an example of how the community is growing up and the community creating this placemaking. Now, doesn't mean this one we don't need architect, absolutely not, but architect can sometime improve and highlight and develop this initial process by the self-organized community. An example is when the community transforming space, this is Urban AG Sites, is an organization. When the community is working, for example, with environmental aspect like the greenery, like gardening, this is very powerful. This is an example how the community can rethink about border, how the community can play also with the topics of art, from gardening and farming is going out through a creative garden and more initiative. And the community, when it's very organized, can really regenerate place. This is an example how a garden and a community garden, and they organize the map, they organize event, they are very active, okay? And this is how also the benefit of that to have a wellness and recreation. Also, there is a physical benefit, because as you know, we really need the green space, we really need the contact with the nature, we really experiment this missing point during the COVID, especially lockdown in Europe. And believe me, stay far away from the fresh air, from the natural environment, create a lot of problem in our society and a lot of sickness and problematic issue. Now, it's the benefit of the project to regenerate the community through the contact and the work with the nature, production, food, gardening, and organize whatever is related around the garden space with art. When we are talking about community and the things happen and something spontaneous, this is happen a lot along the street because of the issue of the public space and the public life, as I remarked at the beginning, is the sidewalk, is the street, is the public life. And this is an example how the community make the things happen. People, the life, and this is an extract of interview along this specific area. I don't remember, it's in Asia for sure, I don't remember. But this is a temporary performance by the market, you know, and the kiosk, and how it's a note, okay, how the community and volunteer is in Kuala Lumpur, by the way. And something happened to the normal life in the daily life, okay? Placemaking can be considered close to sustainable urbanism, okay? We're talking too much about sustainability and smart and green and blah, blah, blah. But this is one of the aims when you write project, when you design something, it's very, very, very important. And this is part of the strategy to create a livable city and resilient city. Now, sustainable city, sustainable urbanism, green design, and strategy, and livable city, and resilient city. This is an important keyword you will find often in the contemporary design project. Why? Because placemaking is part of the urban agenda, and it's a catalyst for the change of the future. And I think so many of you are must be familiar with the sustainable development goals, and you know through each target this is part of this big project to create a better place, especially I think so the goals 11, sustainable city and community, but I think so could be part of different projects too. They show placemaking work with play. Play is our brain favorite way of learning, okay, and this is very important, can be something very, very creative and interactive with the community. I select for you one talk in TED. There is no time for us to listen the talk together and to stop and to criticize the point or to highlight a specific point, but this is something specific about placemaking focus on a community and how to engage local institutions, because you as a designer you will face with the government, with the municipality, with the ministry, or in the large scale with the you can interact with international institutions like UNHABITAT, like United Nations in general, or different organizations are working in this subject. I suggest to watch, to listen, and maybe through this talk you can link with more and more. I use it with my students in class the last semester. Also reading when we move to understand the topics, and reading and learning by experience. By experience, not a single project when we'll arrive at the end, but learning by manual and guidelines. Manual and guidelines is the ground, is the basement for the design process. You cannot invent a single project. You are not, nobody of you is Zadid, nobody of you is Renzo Piano. You will be one day, but especially at the beginning, at that stage to be student, we're learning by copy. By copy, we're learning by reading a lot. And then all of these things together are coming out as your work. Okay, all of these are suggestions and single step I give you as experience, as educator, are very, very important. Because when you're not reading, I know at all, but please try to watch first, try to take note, try to work through the manual in different level, because there are a lot of experience around you can capture and you can take as your personal understanding and moving on with the design. And placemaking is working many different topics and specific topics too. And of course, the manual are different level. This is one of the very good from RIBA, is institution of the School of Architecture. And then we can move on to placemaking specific target, placemaking for kids, or creative placemaking. This is a very good manual, very new, is working with this imagination. And then the art of placemaking, what is it? Another way. And then people, play and purpose. This is a very interesting also manual I found for you in Art Daily. And experience and platform, organization, NGO. And sometimes this organization are matching with academia is very, very interesting. Or specific target, children and youth, for example, because they are very big models to do that. They're very, very powerful. Or you can go through the cultural landscape. This is a manual collecting different paper and experience to think about placemaking in the high level of the cultural landscape. This is another story. It's a manual, very, very nice graphically. And I think so it's a resume, very good illustration, very easy, very simple. It's a urban strategy for the city develop. Look, you can see it's very, very nice and very interesting the way between sketch and mapping. I give to my student as a reference. It's organized in different parts. And through this link, I think so you can have a look mostly the full manual and you can learn something. Again, there is no time in this short lecture to work in everything and video and blogs and article, but I really suggest to, because it's experienced by the student. It's an elaboration between academia and cooperation with some institution in a practical life community day. Then sometimes you learn a lot by special department. This is an example. And there is a lot of experience in like, let's say, like in Canada, like in Denmark, where the welfare is working very well and supporting. And there is a lot of organization by the community. Now, I want to remark something. We are not learning by Denmark because it's perfect. And in the global south, we are not good. I'm an educator is working more than 15 years to improving and to transfer knowledge. I am really open-minded and really respect, and this is very, very important. But we can learn, but we have to transfer. We have to transfer example, methodology, guidelines, reference, policy, whatever in a real context. Okay? And this is why it's very, very important to reading the context and to work in the group. Please don't take any project as a gold or a special solution, because then you have to land to the real context, and this is another process. But we learn in the method, and the method can be applied everywhere. This is an example and application and is experience how the community in the scale of neighborhood design center, they are working together. And a remark, everyone has great ideas, but others part is getting it to get done. Having this sort of data in a very well-built model is a powerful way to get it done. This is a remark when we have a good welfare system can support. It's very important. We learn and we can transfer this experience to the global south without problem. I work in this course last semester with my student, placemaking, playing city. And at the beginning of the course, to address the student to work, you will see some result after. I try to address them. Okay, we focus on people, the users, what they're doing. We analyze space in the urban scale, and then we try to understand the activity, what's going on. Now, the combination of the people in space, any kind of space, is the urban life. Now, users, urban as a scale and context, and activity. And I try to resume for them some, this was an initial guidelines. For example, the topic of the historical city, identity of the place, the topic of the celebration, the topic of the special time in the street, any type of celebration, religious, artistic, a special festival, special event. Then I try to suggest the topic of the temporary, including event, festival, celebration again, a special time in the city, creative structure. If you are, most of you are interested in the small scale and the interior design, we are talking about kiosk and bench. But please, later I will remark something. You have to design space. We are not going to pick the furniture from the catalog, but we are going to combine a sense of place through also the design. Design is very powerful, but you have to design your element in the public space. And then temporary living, temporary shelter is a very large topic. Then the topics of the pandemic post-city, but we had some experience. But I suggest to them to review part of this interesting, the topic of sustainability, the topic of social distance, the topic of the adaptation of the space and the transformation of the space through the new regulation. And then the topic of the empty city, how change it. Then the issue of the public art. Public art is a large topic. It's not only, sorry, it's a problem in the slide sharing. Not working my mouse. Public art is street art, is the topic of performance and special situation, is the topic of the light and installation. This is also very important design. Is the topic of dance or music special festival. In public space, semi-public space, private space with the public use. Pandemic, borders. Borders is another issue, and it's about community life, it's about formal, informal city, big topics in Cairo. It's a topic of, related with the issue of marginality and the social contrast and the natural boundaries. People is the top. Another remark at the beginning, how to work in placemaking. We had some experience. You will see the result later in Cairo. But this is the users, what they want to do. And this is how thinking, all of us as a designer. We decide where the people there to work, and this is the user's experience. Now, please, the observation about design and users, adaptation, and the urban life by time is very, very important. Green and sustainable city, the aim to design a sustainable future, and urban farming, roof garden, recycling, food production, and environmental impact of the design is the main issue for the future of the community. Then the self-construction. Self-construction as a topic of modularity, topic of parametric design, topic of playground, public space, self-sufficient design. All of these keywords are part of it. The topic of the market as including public life, street design, vendors, local economy, circular economy, art and handcraft, food and local product. This is an example of the famous market in Thailand. And then tourism and over tourism. Another subject about how to organize the space related with the cultural heritage, social life, attraction, events, because this is a very, very big issue in a contemporary city. Let me see how to manage the movement of that. And then the social nodes. The social nodes are the landmark, are the point of the attraction. I mean, all of this has been an indication, a reference to address the student to start to observe and to map the space. Then the microspace are very powerful, are very important to play with a very interesting design of the furniture and to think about special target, special users. This is a playground, how kids play in this corridor. And we can really highlight the topic of the void, the pocket, the parklet, the creative corner, the sitting area, the service facility, and invented space, because this is a very powerful, not only residual space. Then the blue city, the topic of the waterfront and the design with the water, the food culture. We are in a Mediterranean area, all of us, we are really related with the public life as a sitting, to drinking coffee, to sharing something together. And this is matching more and more with the festival, local market, special time, traditional space and traditional culture, special place and identity. Now, all of these things need the design, temporary, permanent, or whatever. And these all are call for us to design something special. Another important topic is the infraspace. I worked 2 years ago with my student in this subject. We are talking about residual space, infrastructure and life, recycled space. This is an example how the performance happens along this viaduct. Special voids and the crossing points sometimes are related to infrastructure. Green space as an element of the green design. Now, back to the remark. We are designer, all of us, planner, urban design, interior, blah, blah, blah. Now, what what is design? Design is to create more than just a pretty visual, okay? At the same time is to plan and craft an experience and tangible outcomes that engage with the users. Here we are. This is our aims, okay? Design is about creating solution. Now, space are always with problem, okay? And waiting for a solution. Now, the space is a problem and the design is a solution. This is meaning the designer has to be able to respond to the problem of the context to make a solution, okay? Now, this is not my vision. This is a quote by Hermann Sachs, a very important reference in the type design in Germany. Design is about creating solution, a remark, and every problem may have multiple solution because it was working in the graphic and in calligraphy. But the details are not the details. They make the design. And this is a remark by Charles Ames. I think so all of you has to know the story and the important remark in the field of the design, especially for furniture. And but he was not only design furniture, but he was a very famous filmmaker. And with his wife, they create an amazing startup and let's say office design for this field. Now, there is no entry for this type of design. After remark, what is the design? After all the preparation, the ground about placemaking, there is no entry for this object you can buy online. In my course, is forbidden. Okay, you have to design something can be used like this, but there's no entry at all for this IKEA design. And I explain to you why. This is a very nice. On the left, this is playground, passage, I don't know, public space, that define as you like. On the right is the same. I mean, if I am a member of the community, I can go here or there. Doesn't matter. I relax, but there is a huge difference. Okay, this is a street design, and this is shaped space. This is street furniture. This is decoration. This is just fill the space with something. Okay. Now, if you are going to study and to spend years and years in a workshop, alternative platform like Studio 34, attending to learning and to design something like this with all the respect for the furniture, not something like this. But be prepared because sometime along your professional life or your study or your academia, you will have a compromise, sometime to fill the space. But it's my role as educator to show you the difference and the quality of the space. Of course, it's not just a formal exercise, because the triangle, because the color. No, 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 it's not like this. This is design, working very well in terms of function, accessibility, materiality, and space. This is fill the space with a single object and composing object close to another. The shading element, the sitting area, the table, and the chair. That's it, nothing else. This is a remark. This is an example when you can incorporating play into pedestrian walkway. This is not a furniture, but this is very similar to sculpture design and very similar to public art. But it's a clear example when the designer can design something there. And this design is unique, is original, and is not fill the space with chair and bench. But now the point is how we can design a space and and in a high level place, let's say. Now I'm sure if the topic is playground, is to play with the city, all of you typing in Google design playground. What is coming out? It's coming out if you are lucky some project, if you are unlucky, maybe come out just the brand of the furniture you can order online and you solve the problem. I told you there is no entry for that before. And I will show you some result of the work I did with my student. First one is a student at the second year. And I try to push them to search good project, okay? And this was one of the tutorial work in the playscape around the world. Just to pick for you some experience. This is an example in Sydney. How is the playground? I try to push them to understand the project, the context, the map, the area, to analyze the work, to define and to see how this project is working by the users. We have a sitting element, we have a social engagement space, there is the walking area, there is a shading element. This is searching, selecting case study by specific topics, analyze and elaborate by your understanding. Another example, this is in Cyprus. I know very well because I lived there for 4 years. It's an example in historical context. It's a project of very well-known designer, Zadid. I know all of you are in love with Zadid. At the beginning, I was very, let's say, very rigid with this project because, this is an intermediate space between the walled city and the fort, something built up by the Venetian in the 16th century, and then the new development of Nicosia. It's very complicated, by the way, because it's the wide city. There is a very important social impact. But then when I realized how the people like this place and they like to use in this space, this passage became something else. Zadid, she didn't design the skate area, but the youngers, they tried to gathering there, and this passage area became something like a special festival at the night time, and this is very, very nice. Another example, it's in China. As you know, in China, the huge urbanization, and of course, the designers start to responding because people need the social space, they need playground, they need shopping mall, they need public space, they need the park, they need plaza, they need greenway. And this is one of example. This is an example play with color and with parametric design. And this is how it's working. This is analysis by the student. They try to remark and to understand, and this is quite a kind of organic design. Then there is another topic with the green design, when the shading element are by element like bamboo, very sustainable. Okay, and this is our kind of playground integrate with the green area where they try to use sustainable material. Let's say this was the remark of the analysis. This is related with the materiality of the project. It's very similar to the case I presented before, and the material used is one element, how the material can be used as the expression for the design. This is not a furniture at all. It's working with this shaping and surface. It's a very interesting project, and this is how it's working on detail. And this play with one color, play with this wooden element, and create a path where the children, the kids, they can play, they can move, and it's a very dynamic space. It's a project, if I'm not wrong, I lost the reference. I think so. It's in Germany, but I'm not sure. Plastic Timber. Then another example more is when similar, the previous one play with this topography, but play more with the topography is not in an urban context, but it's kind of this strip along the hill, and through a very contemporary design, very similar, generate this platform in-out element, very active for the another group in the same topics of the playground. It is a work of student, the contribution and the work by them. This is an example under the sea, when the project is coming very, what shall I tell you, it's a very, very, very plastic design and very organic. It's a way to design, is one of the language. Then is another element example when it's like a sensorial garden and is interactive with like a sound space, is another topic very interesting. It's a single element. It's more is like a sculpture, but the students try to understand the context. They try to understand the model, how has been designed, like an element to amplify the sound, but something attractive and interactive for the kids and for the children. Again, is another example of bubble design and plastic, but it's interesting. They try to analyze how is the interaction of this space. Then this is interesting example in China. We can discuss about this one because it's a very, very kitsch like design, but it's interesting the relationship with the surrounding in the area. to create this kind of wall, and the student analyze how is work the zone and how is a kind of passage. It's remind a bit the forum and the plaza, the foyer. But it's interesting. Maybe we can discuss about the materiality and the language, but it's a way of learning by example. And this is a more and more element. It's a quite a Luna Park, but it's very active and it's very attractive for the people. And play a lot with the color and light, another element they decide. This is the pocket park. It's a little bit different, a little bit more interesting in terms of the quality of the design, how it's working, how this intermediate space, and how it's active. I mean, this is the way to create a place to play, to create a space very active, and it's the way to design by place-making approach. And this is the remark by the student, the observation, how is energy efficiency, how is a green infrastructure, how is also educational element power. This project, everybody know this project, I'm sure, is a super link in Denmark, and they use as a main case study several times in my lecture with the student. It's interesting, but you have to understand how is working the project, and the social impact is very important. How all the activity and the element of the design along the area, what is the concept on the back. Now we're learning by case study, but we have to understand what is the concept on the back. And of course, the three area, the three zone by the three color and the three neighbor and the three different language. The area pink is like a patchwork and is working with this play with the pavement. The second one is play with this graphic and play with the topography. And the last one play with the green element. Very, very interesting. Then another example is a children community center. I don't remember, I think so is another example in China too. It's interesting because it's a kind of building with the passage. It's a kind of hermetic box where you move, and it's between organic design and I don't know, very, very interesting design element, and it's for the specific target, but can be attractive for everybody. I really suggest to go more deeply with this case study. Another one is the playground with the element of the vertical element, but using natural material to be very sustainable. Now, I did something else in another course with the student of the 10th semester, very close after the graduation, by the way, is a pre-master program. And placemaking came something else, another level. We work in a critical mapping, in research, sorry, there is a mistake in the word, and guidelines. And now I'm going to share with you some of the work we did together. I think so. Yes, open. 1 second. I have to open the folder to share with you the experience. Now we work in Cairo in the topic of placemaking. We work in a different level. At the beginning, I hope this will be shared. Let me know if it's working. Let me ask, because I want to be sure. Because I want to be sure it's going Okay, what we did at the beginning, we started to analyze the negative space and the positive space by case study, and we start with general project like negative space when we have a case of negative space, and we start to highlight abandoned space, space waiting for something, and neglected space or void space. This is a result of workshop by focus group with a small group of students who work together. And then we highlight the space can be active, can be live space, okay? The live space when there is a normal activity, there's a normal life, okay? I don't know, cultural and creative community, space are live like plaza, or space where let me pick another example, when there is an interaction with the community. And then we move on when there is a very good life, when the space is very active, and we can consider a space a place. And we highlight a very special situation. Let me go out from the full screen just to remark. When we had the possibility to remark by the green space, very active, when there is a cultural interaction. And for example, this is one of the case in Barcelona, or there is another example in Mexico, when this circular architecture is working as a pavilion, very active. All there is another one. This one is in Bronx, in USA, in New York, where this space is using for a temporary use. After this work with the critical and theory aspect, we started to select special area, and we work in Zamalek under the bridge, 26 July. We work in Heliopolis, and then we work also in downtown. I select for you the work of Zamalek because it is very good. This is the video, and this is the story of our process.
26th of July Axis, located in the district of Al Zamalek, Cairo, Egypt. This Passover runs through the heart of this affluent island district on the Nile River. The Passover spans over the entire island, connecting it to different areas of the city. This Passover and the street beneath it are both significant landmarks of the city, and they will be the center of our research for the entire semester. We try to analyze the area and the bridge from different perspectives, trying to understand how people use it as a space and whether the bridge is an obstacle or an opportunity. During the first section of our analysis, we focused on the spaces and the physical realities we found during our trips to the area. We started by highlighting the main landmarks and attraction points along the path and really detecting the urban catalysts of the area. We discovered that the path is rich with landmarks and cultural hotspots, including the also cultural wheel and the famous Zamalek cinema. This vibrant area serves as a gathering place for art enthusiasts from across Cairo, offering a dynamic blend of cultural and artistic experiences. It was also very interesting to see how people perceive spaces in different ways, which really shaped the reality. These changes were inspired by their needs and how they choose to interact with the space. On the next layer of analysis, we really wanted to focus on the people and get involved with the users to better understand their needs and wants of the space, and why they visit the area in the first place. In Zamalek, Cairo, the streets come alive with a diversity of characters, each adding their own hue to the vibrant canvas of this bustling district. They vary from street vendors, passionate individuals like this bird watcher we met, foreigners and tourists, shop owners who live in the area, youth and skaters, and finally senior citizens. We interviewed multiple people of different ages and nationalities in our site visits to know more about people's day-to-day activities and their needs. Firstly, the senior couple who lived in Zamalek their whole lives. They mostly go out on walks or to buy groceries. They said that Zamalek used to be more quiet with public spaces, but now it is dominated with cars. Secondly was the pharmacy clerk who has lived there for 3 years. He said he favors El Sawi Cultural Wheel as it hosts interesting events. Group of girls we interviewed mentioned that they come to Zamalek once or twice a month as it is walkable. A famous pasta restaurant owner said that his customers are usually teenagers coming to dine in, and that the busiest time for Zamalek is from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. This young skater hopes that the streets are more tailored for skating and that he doesn't feel safe skating between the cars. He wishes to have his own skating space in Zamalek. Shaker, the shop owner, has lived in Zamalek all his life. He finds Zamalek safe and hopes it stays clean and vibrant. Finally, we found Reef in his natural habitat, birdwatching and photographing. He says Zamalek is the perfect place for him to enjoy his hobbies between the nature.
Okay. Execution. اتفرج على النيتشر، اتفرج على التيوب، وبتعملي ستادي. بتعملي السبورتس بتاعتك، الرياضة بتاعتك بتعمليها، بتعملي الرياضة النفسية. كويس. الرياضة النفسية اللي أنا يعني بعتبر ده بقول عليه ده غسيل.
Lastly, in this stage of our analysis, we were eager to look at the activities that took place in the site and document them. Zamalek, with its vibrant and inviting atmosphere, acts as a magnet for a myriad of activities, catering to both individuals and group engagements. In this axonometric, the user activities spanning the entire area are highlighted based on their intensity on the map. These activities include youth skating, individuals capturing photographs of each other and the surrounding nature, people leisurely enjoying meals at restaurants and cafes, engaging in shopping excursions, utilizing various modes of transportation for commuting, and encountering vendors lining the bridge selling an array of goods, from fresh produce to books. Underneath the bridge, the bays predominantly serve as car parking spots, easing the traffic congestion in the area. However, exceptions exist where some bays accommodate a mosque. Most fresh food truck vendors provide space for skating enthusiasts and offer areas where cafes extend their seating zones with tables and chairs spilling out into the Bay Area. This dynamic mix of activities reflects the vibrant energy and diverse lifestyle of Zamalek, making it a captivating destination for residents and visitors alike. Tourists of diverse ages can be seen day and night near hotels, metros, sightseeing or near embassies. Teenagers with their energy skating, biking and hanging out, locals strolling or grocery shopping, and shop workers, vendors and construction workers during the day. Based on the study of the area of Zamalek and specifically the areas around the bridge, our vision is to transform these microspaces under the bridge into lively pockets that act as a temporary extension to the functions of the street, from cultural to leisure, commercial and sports. Our aim is not to remove the car parkings permanently, but rather use the spaces in weekends or at the least busy times of the day for the interventions. Here shows the section of the bridge after the implementation, where the different bays host different activities. From the left, temporary structures are placed for cultural events organized by El Sun Cultural Wheel, from piano sessions to outdoor cinemas and movie screenings. Secondly, as an example of the markets, the area under the bridge can host food-related events such as Cairo's Food Week. Next is the skating park for the youth to skate freely and safely away from the cars. After that is the market area where different markets can be held based on the needs of the people. To further illustrate the idea, these gatherings at the food vendors shine a spotlight on the region's diverse culinary offerings and the talents of local vendors. This endeavor goes beyond merely showcasing the abundant local produce. It also provides a vital platform for street vendors to boost their income. The skating park tailored for youth not only guarantees a secure environment for skating but also addresses the hazards of skating alongside cars in less than ideal settings. Finally, the local markets that traditionally occupy the sidewalks. By providing designated spaces for these vendors, a vibrant market atmosphere while reclaiming the sidewalks for pedestrian use is thriving. To define our interventions into straightforward actions with relevant keywords, firstly, creating a safe space for youth relating to the community, Youth and space revitalization. Secondly, creating flexible spaces serving the community, local economy as well as leisure by connecting to the local restaurants surrounding the market and reacting to local events. Inspire and add temporary spaces for leisure, community events, and space revitalization with the changing trends in these social pockets. Lastly, supporting the local businesses by boosting the products of the street vendors and organizing the shopping experience below the bridge. We added some open questions to further strengthen the suggestions. How to ensure that these interventions do not obstruct the traffic flow of the area. How to encourage businesses to intervene under the bridge and leave their original setting. How to continue the temporary interventions on a long term without limiting the parking spaces. How to make the designs inclusive to all residents of Zamalek with their diverse ages and nationalities. Finally, we appreciate any questions from your side.
Well, was one of the best work I select. We had many, but no time. And the video I showed to you is the general work, but the general work, sorry, the general work is here. They work in a booklet with some reference with a very, very, very good graphic, and where here there is all the step from the analysis, basically the things you saw in the montage, understanding the area, understanding the use of the space and what's going on there, the mapping, okay, marking with element of the design existing spontaneous or not, how we center and the parking. Because as a designer, we had to take the dimension. The student went there several times to take photo, and I like to work a lot in collage and to play with the visual art, to understand and perceive the city very well, and mapping also is very, very important. What the people are doing where, what they're using, how they're using the space, all the things you saw already in the video, but the video is a montage, the final elaboration, all of this long work, and the relationship of this micro space in between this high-rise building and the voice of the people interact with the community. This is a work of one semester, okay? And this is the cover of the film they prepare along the bridge short film. And then they start to study reference like the student before, but this is a different course. This is a course with project, okay? And they start to learn by example. What's going on around the world in a similar case and situation? What the designer they are doing, okay? And there are project of market, project of garden, project of transforming different space. They selected 6 case study as a main case study with a keyword with a specific action. Plus they remark some element inside the project and the direction. And this is all the story you already saw in the film, and also their conclusion as addressing for possible situation how to design. And this is more and more about project they learn some project by some webinar we have together with some guests, and some question they remark about it. Well, my lecture is going to finish. I'm going to back to my presentation. I left the presentation in placemaking as a critical mapping. Just I would like to give you a message, people in your design that in your people. This is meaning you in your design creative process, you have to really consider them, but maintain your role because you are the designer. You have to listen and to consider, but you don't have to let them design for you because it's not their roots, but it's your roots. Thank you so much. My lecture is done. I'm waiting for your questions. We'll try to open at the same time the question if it's possible. If there is any question to respond to you. Okay, I'll check in the comment. Please let me know. Please let me know.